Cindy.
Yes. Yeah. Are we about to start right now?
Yeah. Did you take? Is it book?
Yeah.
I'm excited because after
I haven't seen her
this,
in
last year I
ages.
went to the bookstore right after this, and then I got
Years
sweatpants,
and
and they're the
years.
most comfortable sweatpants I've ever had. So I'm absolutely.
Okay, we're going to get started here. If you are signing in, please do it quietly. Welcome to this panel. My name is John Zmickley. I'm a lecturer here at Texas State, and I teach this class called The Fundamentals of Digital and Online Media, so welcome to it, all of our guests and regular students. And real quick, if you are in my Thursday class, please, before you leave today, write down your name on a sheet of paper and write down 2 of the most interesting things that you learned today. So that will be part of your today's quiz. So before you leave today, do that. I'm very happy to be joined by these all-star guests that we have, all with careers in social and digital media. The 2 of them are alums, and one is a San Marcos native. So we're very excited to have them here. Why don't we first kind of go around, and if each of the panelists would just say your name and then your kind of background and how you got into the job that you have now, if that works.
Me.
Yeah, so Meg Turney.
I'm Meg Turney. I work for a company called Rooster Teeth. My job is entirely, nobody knows Rooster Teeth. It's fine. It's an applause line. It's fine. There's a lot of those in everything I say. My job's on YouTube. So I make YouTube videos for a living. I play video games and talk about them. And one person's excited about playing video games. It's fine. No, don't worry about it. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. So I just play video games and make dumb videos, and somehow I have a house. And somehow I live. And that's how it works. But basically, I went to school here. I got a degree in electronic media, and yeah, so exciting. Thank you guys.
Almost anything you say, you're going to get.
Yeah. Guys, I stubbed my toe.
Glasses.
So, no, I got a degree in electronic media, and I was the anchor for Bobcat Update, and made a really, thank you for not putting it on YouTube anymore, John, this amazing show called Studio B, and actually in the basement in the library.
And
that's
have
how I
the
got started.
official archive.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. Yeah, that's how I got started.
Wonderfully embarrassing.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Annie. I grew up in San Marcos. Go Rattlers. Anybody?
Hey.
It's fine. They don't like clapping. Let me just tell you what I learned.
How are they doing this year? So I grew up in San Marcos, went to SMHS, and then I went to NYU. I graduated in 2011. Started interning at Tumblr my junior year of college, and then I graduated early. I had a degree in new media and public discourse, which is something that I made up. If you go to the Gallatin School of Individualized Study, you can do that. And now I get paid to lurk on the internet all day and curate content for our editorial programs and products on Tumblr. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's a good, quick roundup. Perfect.
Awesome. My name is George Kill. I'm the editor-in-chief of NiceKicks.com. How many people know what NiceKicks is? Awesome. So yeah, I do a range of YouTube videos like Sneak Peek, Soul Access, Kicks on Court. Also, I interned at Fox KTBC, which is in Austin, Texas. I went to school here. I actually see a few of my teachers in here.
Cindy, web design.
So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Very cool. So you each have digital jobs that probably didn't exist maybe 5-10 years ago even. But you all went to school here, and we prepared you for the next step. And so could you talk a little bit about the process of breaking into the industry or breaking into that job that you really wanted? It seems like you guys have jobs that you love, so how do you break into that, and move down the line again?
Well, I didn't mention that I interned at a company called G4, which is no longer a TV network, RIP, but it was a gaming television channel. So I met a lot of people there. And then I actually started working at a company called DeviantArt, which is an art website in marketing, which was just a job I could get and didn't want to do it all. But I started making YouTube videos, and I went on this cattle call of a casting call and happened to luck into a channel called SourceFed. And thank you. You're my best friend now. So anyway, I just made videos that were really terrible, and the show we made was it was fun.
It's called
it was really
Studio
fun.
B.
It was really great. But it was just practice and practice and practice and being awkward and being fine with being awkward and then turning that into a brand. So yeah, just making YouTube videos and being lucky at casting calls.
So how did you land that, I guess, first internship?
At G4, I wrote a letter. I think I had like 6 professors look at my like cover letter, like, is this cool enough? Do you think that's cool? I honestly, I applied for 3 G4 internships, and it was like, this one I really want was called Attack of the Show, and then the other one I really wanted was called X-Play, and then like my safety was G4TV.com, and only G4TV.com got back to me. So I just applied for a ton at the same network that I wanted, and then basically took my G4TV.com internship and was like, hey, I could work on this Attack of the Show package or this X-Play package, and just kind of like wormed my way in there.
Well, you made yourself available.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Yeah, well, my career path like started, I think, with my like early relationship to the internet on LiveJournal.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I think you all are too young for, but
No.
it was amazing, and it was kind of the place where I learned how to express myself on the internet and how to make friends and communities. And when I went to college, I thought I wanted to be a journalist, and I started using social media as a place to sort of collect clips and make relationships with other journalists. But then I got on this thing called Tumblr and was very much like sucked into that world and really like reestablished my love and affection for internet culture. And they posted an internship opportunity on their staff blog at like 2 a.m. once, and I just was online at the time because it was my life, and applied like right away. And then I had an internship at the time at an all-weekly called The Village Voice up in New York, and my boss there knew somebody at Tumblr miraculously because there were only 8 people who worked there at the time, and I interviewed, and they were like, cool, and then I got the job. But it's been a long road. I've been there for 5 years now, so counting my internship. And I think similar to what you said is you kind of have to just like make yourself available and like find like gaps in opportunities that like you can sort of do yourself. Like the funny thing nobody tells you about jobs is that like they're very like, especially at first, like micro task oriented. So like, if you're a person who's like great at writing emails, like be the person who can like write really great emails and like cold email people to onboard Tumblr. Like that's basically what I did, how I kind of got started on evangelism for Tumblr and then later more editorial roles. But yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. I graduated here in 2008, print journalism, and I wanted to learn all facets of mass comm. So while I was doing that, I was also playing for the basketball team here. Also writing for the school newspaper in the athletic section. And I was doing the intern, as I mentioned, at Fox KTBC. So I was doing all that while taking, I think 22 hours or something like that. But I just wanted to learn everything that has to do with mass comm, whether it's print, broadcast, which that's what we were doing at Fox KTBC. And then from there, my internship coordinator hooked me up with the CEO, who's now at Nice Kicks, Matt Hatfield, and it's been great since then. But it was just a steady stream of trying to learn everything as far as mass comm, doing print journalism, and like they said, making myself available, whether it's YouTube, and which that's probably my main source of where people know me. But yeah, YouTube, print journalism, editing, advertising, just everything.
Wow, it sounds like everybody had that same theme of internship and then make yourself invaluable.
Well, and it's all about like creating something you want to do. Like you might come to a company, for instance, like when I started at DeviantArt, I really wanted to do hosting. They didn't have any outlet for that. So I just started making YouTube videos that were about what was going on at the company and being like, can I post this? They'd be like, yeah, sure. And then you get to post it. And then people are like, oh, we want to see more. So you like make your own. Even with the series I work on now, Freeplay was like, after work, I like cobbled together some people and was like, can we make a pilot? Because I just really want to do this show. And it's so much more convincing when you go into a pitch meeting and say like, well, this isn't what it's going to look like when it's finished, but here's an idea of what we have. Like anything you could do to like make people say like, yeah, you should make that project. It just makes everything so much easier.
That's good. I'm glad you said that. Yesterday, or in Tuesday's panel, we had Trey Brundett of Vox Media, and his big announcement, just advice to students is make something, do something where you can build something and show somebody something, instead of handing them an idea or give them a product. Could you guys go through kind of your day-to-day? If we could just kind of go through what's your day like? What exactly do you do? How much of it is you get to be creative versus other tasks that you might have to be doing? But yeah, if you could go around, just say your day-to-day.
So I shoot a bunch of different shows at Rooster Teeth. So each day is a little bit different, but normally I come in probably around 10 in the morning and look at what's going on. Game journalism and game news doesn't really break until around noon Central Time, if that. It's a little bit later in the day, so we scale later in the day. So I'll usually look at what's going on, if there's anything I want to cover. I'll have pitch meetings for free play, for stunts that we're going to do. It's a variety show, and we do really dumb stuff, so it's just a meeting where we just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. We do that once a week. And I shoot another series called Game Club. So if I haven't played my Game Club game, it's where we play a different game each week and then we talk about it. So I'll probably play that game for a couple hours. Then I'll write my news story. Usually takes about 30 to 45 minutes to write. Everything is already set. Our set has lights and prompters and everything set up. So I just put cards in and have somebody scroll my prompter and make my news story for the day. If free play's on, I'll shoot free play. If it's not, I'll just do my news story and then take that home to edit. So I can do it on my own time, and then I just post my news story. So pretty much everything is either being creative or preparing to be creative.
That's good.
Which is nice.
And you also, a lot of your job really is like unofficially social media, you know, engaging with people, and that's a full-time job in and of itself.
Yeah.
How much of your day would you say you devote to social media? If you could pick
Like
a,
all day.
all day, I know, yeah.
Like
100%.
refreshing. Oh, there's
Up in
new
the morning and
tweets.
before you
Yeah,
sleep.
absolutely. Yeah,
Cool.
it's an all the time thing.
Good. Annie, you wanna?
Day to day. So day to day is actually kind of hard. It's like constantly evolving, and my team actually is like quadrupled in the last 6 months. So a lot of what I do now is, as someone who's been there for 5 years, I'm kind of the go-to like institutional history person. But I guess it's better to go like week by week. So there are like several things that I manage. I manage our trending topics. I manage Tumblr Radar. I host a Q&A series on Answer Time called Answer Time, which is like a lot of like celebrity wrangling. So I'm constantly emailing with people's publicists and like doing a lot of management in the back end for that series. I'm curating and writing a lot of the copy for our social media channels, which is taken from all the content that I'm doing in trending and on Answer Time. I also manage our Year in Review project. So it's like day to day, I'm like, every day I walk in and I'm like, what do I have to do today? But I think the first thing that I do every single day is like check in on social media, check in the New York Times. Like I can't do my job without knowing what's going on in the world. So that's definitely one constant, is that I have to get up and know what is happening on Twitter, on Facebook, on New York Times. And then I kind of go from there, because it's all informed by kind of the internet at large.
My day-to-day is pretty hard just because it's a case-by-case thing. I'm always traveling, so it's like a different day every day. But usually when I'm here and during basketball season, it involves writing a speech just for what I have to do for my videos. Also promoting the social media as far as Instagram and Twitter, as far as some of my videos and stuff like that. But it has a lot to do with writing, editing, and just making sure video speeches are correct, and also editing all of the articles that go on nicekicks.com. But I also run, I'm the executive director of a nonprofit foundation, and I'm constantly on Instagram and Twitter promoting those things as well. So it varies from day to day. Lately, I would say this year I've traveled more than anything, so I really don't have a set day to day. It just varies.
Yeah. It sounds like, I mean, obviously, like you said, like we use social media all the time. It's ingrained with what we do. And this title of this panel is social media engagement that works, and finding strategies that work, you know. So I guess in your strategy, could you talk a little bit about your social strategy and how you kind of think about your online personal brand and how you engage with your communities?
It's kind of different for everything. For free play, we normally engage by getting people, because we shoot ahead of time, so we shoot 2 days ahead of when the episode airs. So we'll normally take a photo that's like, I want to know what happened here, so I'm going to come back in. For the no, it's much more professional with video, as professional as you can be about video game news. So we talk about video games on the Twitter, but for my personal brand, it's very personal. I don't have like a persona that I put on when I host. I don't really think about when I tweet, like, is this going to be upsetting to, you obviously think like common sense type stuff, but if it's something I want to tweet about, I tweet about it. If it's political or if it's about, pride or anything else, like I just put it out there and kind of like let people sort it out on their own. I always, if I do a YouTube video, I'm always putting that on my Twitter. That always goes on my Facebook as well. Facebook is harder to turn over than any other social media for some reason. So it's very insular. So sometimes I'll post videos. Once a month, I post a video directly to my Facebook fan page. But really my strategy I mostly focus on Twitter. I have an Instagram and my Facebook fan page, but I'm mostly focused on Twitter, and it's mostly just like a stream of content. I tweet probably like 40 times a day. Like it's just crap being thrown at people constantly, and some of it sticks.
That's a great example. Like you really kind of have to throw things, just kind of like see what goes, and that's what I would call like authenticity. So we strive for that, and for the past like 8 months, I've been working on Tumblr social media strategy, and as a result, my own personal social media has just been like, so like it kind of takes priority. I wish I could like claim authorship of some of these like really witty things that I've said on the Tumblr Twitter account, but it's all about the brand. But I think like, I don't know, like I think we have an interesting challenge as a brand being really generalist. I wish we had like one cool interest of video games where we could be like, this is what we do. This is what our one thing is that we do. But we really try to appeal to a really broad audience. And sometimes you can run into the issue of like trying to appeal to everyone. You can sometimes appeal to no one. And we kind of have to figure out what the balance is between appealing to like all these niche audiences that have very specific interests and the Tumblr brand at large.
I'll speak from the perspective of the foundation. At the beginning of each week, we usually set a schedule of what we're going to post. And I'd say on our big event Instagram account, I'm big on Instagram, by the way. That's my favorite social media. Twitter, I'm not really, I don't particularly care for Twitter.
I don't understand you.
I like pictures.
We can't connect.
I know, right? But we usually at the beginning of the week, we set a schedule where we post maybe at, 11, 3, 6, 9, and just my thing is content is king. So if you give people as much content as possible, they're likely to come back and check every single time or every single day for what you're posting. If you have kind of lulls in between, then you kind of lose out on some of the promotion and stuff like that. But as long as you're just sharing things, whether it's the online store that we have or something that we're doing in the community, or maybe even an event that we just posted, people want content and they want it like ASAP. So you have to always be able to provide that. And so that's what we do with our Instagram account and Twitter, and Facebook is, I don't know.
It's hard to wrangle sometimes.
It is.
That's good. I mean, how much of your, I guess when you're trying to decide which platform to use, you all talked about strategy. There's definitely a strategy to this. It's not just yell things out and hope it sticks all the time. Like on all these platforms, you could run, yourself senseless trying to figure out what platform we're going to use, and just takes a lot of time to make a video, as all of you know. So how do you pick that platform that you want to stick to, and how have you guys found the platform that works for you to engage with your communities?
So my largest audience by far is on Facebook.
Wow.
Yeah, which is so crazy because they don't want to do anything else. Like there's 1.1 million of them, and I have 200,000 subscribers on my YouTube. I'm like, please just push the button.
Yeah.
Like I know you're there. Please. You cannot turn them over to anything. But the way I pick which social media site I'm going to use for which content is just like which audience I've curated there, because my Facebook fan page is all from my modeling. So if I'm wearing scantily clad clothing, like that's going on Facebook. That's where that goes. If it's like a selfie, that's going on Instagram, because Instagram's kind of my throwaway. But everything else, like if I want people to actually, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult Instagram.
Deeply offended, George.
I don't even care about Instagram. No, But if I want people to actually discuss the content I'm putting out, or if I want a response, or if I'm going to use the responses for a video I'm shooting or anything like that, it goes on Twitter, just because the rapport I have on Twitter with my fans is that you can tweet me and I'm probably going to tweet you back. It doesn't always happen, but like we've established, me and all my fans, I've established this kind of rapport with my fan base there, my followers, that it's somewhere we can discuss topics and they can say things that are maybe like a little outlandish to me, or maybe they can actually disagree with what I'm saying, and I'll probably give them a response. So anything that's like I actually want people to engage on, I use Twitter for.
Yeah, I use Twitter kind of more professionally. I think too. I think what I always say is like Facebook and Twitter though are kind of like my identity, and like, Tumblr is like my soul. So like if you want to know what I'm actually like, you should go to my Tumblr, and it's just where I kind of like can more stream of conscious, like reblog photos and like, you know, that Miranda July quote that I love, and you know, I don't have to be as like buttoned up, upstanding professional internet citizen. And I don't know, I think like I don't use my Facebook to engage with people other than my like people I went to high school with. Like I'm gonna be a bridesmaid for the first time, and like that Facebook's the only place you can go where you know that. I'm not tweeting about that.
Now the internet.
Like I'm not tweeting about that. It's not
Live
going on my
tweet the wedding.
Tumblr. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's just my personal perspective. If we're talking about it from a brand perspective, you know, we do a lot of analytics on what does well where. You know, Facebook is like animals and parroting. Twitter is all about the celebrity. Like anytime we can tweet at Halsey, anytime we can tweet at Kim Kardashian and they RTS, like everyone pretty much has that kind of rapport. Every personality kind of has that rapport on Twitter, where if like you're trying to engage with other people's audiences, like Twitter's the place to do it, because there's not engagement on Facebook, there's just reach. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're optimizing. You probably want to post less on Facebook if you're trying to optimize that, because they will, if you start posting too much on Facebook, like the algorithm will start to hate you, and you can't really read that algorithm. So you might as well just put, I think, more volume into Twitter and like get those engagements and impressions, and then let like the few posts that you do on Facebook sort of like reach a broader audience for over the course of a couple of days, honestly. And then, you know, Tumblr, you can do whatever the heck you want.
No, it's interesting you say that, because you're right. Like tweets don't cannibalize each other, but if you post on Facebook and then you post immediately after that, it's going to cannibalize all the reach from your first post.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to let things breathe. But with Twitter, like people respond to tweets that are from like 2013. How did you find that tweet?
Favorite
Like, I don't understand how that happens, but it's very unique. I would say that like Tumblr, I didn't mention in my thing. Tumblr, I used to see what people are saying about me. That's what I do on Tumblr.
The truth.
Just search
of
the
what-
Meg Turney tag.
Annie, real quick, your job used to kind of be curating content for artists and up and coming brands and things. How did you kind of coach people at that level to kind of really start branching out their brand? That was kind
Yeah. So, I mean, the way like I would, because I work for Tumblr, the way that I would like pitch Tumblr to people is that it's actually a great place to host like a hub for all of your social media content, because it can do anything, and it can also publish out to Facebook and Twitter. So if you don't have a lot of time and you want to be really efficient, you can just have everything sort of like feed from your Tumblr and go out to Twitter and Facebook. And it can also collect your Instagram content. So if you are posting on the fly from Instagram, it can go automatically to your Tumblr. So it's a great place to just collect all of that amazing content that you're making. But I think I think generally, like stylistically, you know, you want to be yourself. You want to be really conversational and authentic. You don't want to sound like a walking press release. And like, it was interesting kind of seeing like over the years, like coaching people on social media is like now, like everyone's like really natural. Like everybody knows to be colloquial. Everybody knows like, you know, you want to be cool and authentic, but like in 2010, like people were just horrible at it. Like
everything.
It was just, people just had no idea. So now it's sort of like, I actually like, I feel like I learn more from how people are experimenting. And I think like the best thing you can do on social media now is like not try to follow a formula and really try to experiment and do stuff that other people aren't doing.
That's great.
And I'm totally different from, you know, you guys are so true.
That's the beauty of social media.
Right. I would say nicekicks.com. The main social media platform is Instagram. I think it has close to 2 million 3 million people
Wow.
that follow it, and rightfully so, because our main thing that we talk about is sneakers. People want to see sneakers instead of like read about them. That's kind of boring to read about sneakers these days. So if it's like a big release or something like that, you want to see the shoe that's coming out. You don't want to, the Air Jordan so and so is coming out. That's not that flashy, but when you see it, and even with my personal brand, I'm probably bigger on Instagram than any of them, just because I like to, post behind the scenes pictures of me in like different locker rooms, or if I'm at like a celebrity's house looking at his collection, people want to see that instead of, read about it.
You
So
sound so creepy when you say that. I'm just in locker rooms. I'm in celebrity houses, just hanging out.
but yeah, no, it's I would just say basically when it comes to photos, if your job is photo ready more than any other platform, definitely Instagram is key. As far as that, and you can engage with people doing like Instagram giveaways and different type of Q&As through there. Also Twitter as well, but
Yeah,
it's just different.
I've noticed the same thing too. Like when I model for particular like outlets, they're all about Instagram. They're like, great, let's get a BTS photo for Instagram, and we're gonna post like a preview of the shoot from Instagram, like everything, because that's a very visual medium. So
Yeah. Well, I want to get to any questions you may have. So if you have a question, tweet it with the MC Week hashtag that we have up here. And we'll also have a microphone coming around. And if you guys would line up kind of in this aisleway at the very top, line up and ask your question. We'll get those mics out to you. And so also I want to, just a couple more questions from me, and then we'll get to the audience questions. Could you talk, George, a little bit about the difference, and I would like to hear all of your opinions on this, on just when you're strategizing, content, obviously for nicekicks.com, you're going to want to do it differently than you would for your nonprofit.
Right.
So how do you find that voice without sounding like you're trying to sell to somebody? It's really about community, and engagement and listening. So could you talk a little bit about the difference, between the bottom line of, kind of nicekicks.com maybe, and then like the nonprofit side of your foundation?
Right. Well, yeah, they're totally different as far as engagement. Nice Kicks, when I'm working on there as far as social media, that's kind of promoting the different videos that we have, and maybe like 2 or 3 days before the video, we always kind of engage the audience, telling them like, hey, something's coming up. So one of our big videos are coming up, and we do like a multitude of different photos and stuff like that. As far as the foundation, that's more engaging people over time. That's more showing you like what we're doing in the community. It's not really a preview type of account. It's more so like, hey, come get involved and check out what we're doing. Because that Nice Kicks is more established than the foundation. So the foundation, we're just kind of randomly throwing things out there like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're actually, here's something that we're donating and stuff like that. But as far as nicekicks.com, that's more in your face. Like, check this out. If you miss it, then you're just not in the know. But it's on YouTube anyway, so you won't miss it.
Well, and part of that too is like, I think a lot of people think about social media as I'm just going to tweet a lot, I'm just going to make videos a lot, and I'm not going to interact with people face to face. But there is that element, especially when you're doing like this event-driven, kind of foundation, where it is about coming and giving and going to a 3-on-3 basketball tournament, and doing that. So there is that face-to-face level too. So, and Meg, you can probably talk about that too, where you're doing events a lot too and meeting people. And so, can you talk about the difference between like your online community and your face-to-face community, and the importance of kind of maybe making sure you have a healthy both sides of that?
I do convention appearances, so I go and I'm a cosplayer by trade, sort of, and I just dress up in crazy costumes and meet people, and it's really cool actually. Like the online audience, working in YouTube, you get used to people being really, really terrible and like leaving horrible comments and just saying things I would never say face to face, and then you get that in your mindset that that's like the audience. And then you actually meet the audience, and they're the sweetest, nicest, most amazing people. So it's actually really refreshing, and it helps keep my outlook on our audience really wonderful, like it helps not be bogged down by it. But it's definitely, you find people who are your most dedicated fans, people who drive for hours and come in and say hello, and people who are really engaged with your content, who have ideas about your content, who have ideas for what they really like and what they really didn't like, and it helps you shape your content. So you can get lost in the sea of responses online, but when you meet people face to face, it actually helps kind of round out the feedback that you're getting.
That's good. It's real-time listening, online and in person.
We have a question from Twitter.
Wonderful.
Winslow Blow asks, what was the best moment of your career?
Hey, best.
The best.
Best day of your life.
That stumped the panel.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you start? We should switch it up.
I'll go first. No. Maybe like that moment where you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. This is amazing. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'll take a stab at this. I think, honestly, like, it's been such a, like, I think the fact that there isn't such a, like, singular moment for me that's coming to mind is kind of a good sign. Like, it's been this sort of constant crescendo over the last 5 years of my career constantly growing and evolving, and you get those great moments where you get a promotion, or you get to travel, or you have a really great successful tweet that goes viral or something. Like, those things kind of happen every day or every quarter or what. But I think, like, I can't distill it into one moment, but I do think that, like, it's pretty special that it's been about growth.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I would say I've actually had a lot of interviews that have went viral with NiceKicks.com. So I would say on both sides. With Nice Kicks, we recently went to James Harden's house. Any Rockets fans in here? Nice. Yeah, we went to James Harden's house as he switched from Nike to Adidas. And the Adidas, they had like this big showing for him. Like, they brought out an Adidas truck, had like 500 different sneakers there for him. And so we did an interview with him at his house as he was talking about Adidas and making the change. Also, I did an interview with my favorite basketball player ever, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
And we did that at his, I don't know what you call it. It was some kind of house, second home that he had. And we did something with him about his new design and his new footwear. On the foundation side, I would say probably we have an initiative during March called the Blue Knots initiative, where we encourage everyone to wear blue shoelaces for colon cancer awareness. And just seeing some of the NBA players during the games wear the blue shoelaces was one of the biggest moments, because I just didn't think that would happen as fast as it did. And on Instagram, we had like 900 people with the hashtag Blue Knots supporting from like Europe and places all over the world, Australia and stuff like that. So I would say that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, just to see an initiative start on March 1st and it take off so fast. That's the beauty of Instagram.
Yeah.
I love that you're selling Instagram now. I feel the same way in that, like, it's funny, you were like, a tweet that went viral. My most viral tweet is about running into Justin Bieber. And like, I apparently broke the story that Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez were back together at the AMAs. So that's my most viral tweet, which is not like my best moment ever. But it is about like a culmination of different moments. Actually, this is kind of a really small moment, but for me, it felt very big, which is that I rediscovered my bucket list that I wrote in college. And the top thing on my bucket list was to pay my bills hosting. And it was just like, I accomplished the top thing on my bucket list, which is not like for anyone else. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. It's not like, it's not a moment that changed anyone else's life, but it gave me perspective in that, like, you dream so, to me now it seems like, oh, that's such a silly small goal. You could do so much more. But to me, when I wrote it, was like, this is the culmination of like the hardest thing I could possibly do. So it's just kind of a small moment.
Well, yeah, it took a lot of work to get to those points. You guys are all wildly successful. But when you're a student and you're trying to step out for the first time, it can get kind of discouraging. You know, you're trying to blog out. A lot of people in my class have, started their blog, or they started an account and they want it to go viral. They want visibility, and it is a lot of work and it can be discouraging. What advice would you give to a student who is at that point where they want to break out, they want to provide good content, they want to find communities, but it's maybe just not happening for them? Anyone can answer.
I would say for a lot of people, they make a lot of content before any of it gets noticed. A really good example of this that I love to share is my boyfriend Gavin Free started the Slow Mo Guys, and one Slow Mo Guys, that's cool.
One fan.
Front row is my best friend. He made a bunch of videos. If you go back and look at his videos from when he started it, there were a ton that got like 30 views. Like they're tiny videos that nobody was watching, but he kept making that content. And finally one went viral, and now he has like 6 million subscribers plus. So it's just continuing to make that content and knowing that one of them will catch eventually. If you just make content people want to watch, eventually someone will either pay you to keep making that content, or they'll show their friends that content. And it definitely catches on, like hard work pays off.
Had we made one more episode of Studio B, it would have went viral.
I'm telling you, the Halloween episode was
The best we could do.
culmination. You were an icing packet.
That was
There
an icing pouch, yes. That was my Halloween costume. I had a hazmat suit, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. You may,
They were on YouTube for a long time.
yeah, they're on now. I'm the only one that has access to this. Maybe, okay, we've got a question.
Well, I'd like
Sorry,
to add to
yeah,
that.
yes,
Actually,
please.
I think I agree that like you have to constantly be making content. I would just add that like there's so many tools at your disposal for like reporting and analytics. Like you can see like even if you're only getting 30 views, like if you get on one video like 60 views, you're like you can tell now like, oh, like what is it about that was more successful? And you can actually like do really like detailed reporting for free that will kind of maybe help guide you and maybe help inform like what like maybe even if it's just like when you post things, or at the time of day or day of the week, you can get really granular with data. So I would look into that.
And I would say some of the same. Consistency and networking are key as far as getting your work out there. And I totally agree. I remember when we started our first video, it was a Kicks on Court episode. This is my digital media director there. We did like 10, I don't know, it was like 8,000 people. I was just like, this is going nowhere fast. And then now they get like 75, 100,000 of video, 100,000 of views. And then some of our sneak peeks get like millions of views and stuff like that. But it just started maybe three or 4 years ago, where we just continually doing it. And after a while, it just engages a whole new audience. And doing different videos from, different, like, if we do something in Phoenix, we engage their audience. Do something in San Antonio, engage their audience. And over time, just being consistent and networking with different people in different parts of the nation, it builds your audience.
I would add to that, like tweeting at people. Like if you I have a friend who's like a songwriter on YouTube, and she'll do covers. She has like a Request Tuesday where she does covers of different popular songs and puts a different spin on them, and then she tweets it at the artist to say like, hey, Taylor Swift, I made a cover of your song, and they get retweeted by artists. My advice for that is don't take that overboard, because if they go to your Twitter and then it's like 45 tweets of you tweeting your video at people, they're gonna be like, screw it, I'm just one in a sea of people, like I'm not gonna retweet that video. But if you see that like I'm really targeted at, like I sent it to this person and this person, I think they should see it, like it feels more genuine, and it's more likely that they'll tweet your video out.
That's great. Audience questions.
Yeah, we have another Twitter question here. Kayla Pierce wants to know, when you all were in school, what made you choose this career path? Or if it was different, what changed it?
Yeah, I chose this career path because my mom was my biggest critique as far as like editing papers and stuff like that. So I don't know why I like writing, because she used to just tear my papers up. I don't know how that even came about, but I always wanted to write. I always wanted to, write poems, write papers and stuff like that. So when the job came about, I started off as a staff writer, and I did many pieces as far as writing about sneakers and stuff like that. I don't know as far as video and the personality I do with video and stuff like that. That just came about through me trying to learn different mediums of social media and broadcasting and journalism and stuff like that. So it all started with writing, but I've just been intrigued by all facets of media.
That's good.
I was a history major. I took that to the end, even though I just added on mass comm. But I had a friend, my dorm roommate was like, hey, take intro to mass comm with me so we can have an 8 a.m. class together. And I was like, all right, fine. And so I took intro to mass comm. I loved the class, and I started watching a show called X Play on G4. And there was a female host. Her name was Morgan Webb. And she was really smart and knew her stuff and funny. And I thought, I want to do what she does. Like, that's only one person gets to do that job. And I want to do what she does. So I just stuck with mass comm and kept it going, much to my parents' chagrin. They were like, we're already paying for one. Why do we pay for two? But yeah, I just wanted to do what she did and said, like, screw it, I'm going to give it a shot. And
Oh man, what was the question again? Like, oh, well, I got to make up my major. So like everything that I did in college was sort of this like journey of self-discovery. Like everything from like picking classes, like I got to pick whatever class I wanted to, and then I just had, at the end of it, had to like decide how to defend all of the stuff that I had done over the past 3-4 years. So I think like the best piece of advice I can always give people is like follow your curiosity, and like that's sort of where I led. That's sort of what led me to where I am now. It was sort of like things just sort of fall into each other once you sort of take an action on like pursuing what you're curious about.
If anybody wants to ask a question live in the audience, you can come up here and take the microphone away from me. I'll ask one more from Twitter. Walter Pinata says, is there a new social media outlet on the rise that we should know about?
Hey.
They're like
It's a good
50.
question.
I
What?
don't think any of them are worthwhile, which I say no.
Were you just telling me about one, Annie?
I don't know if you heard about Tumblr, but I think, no, one thing I really do love about Tumblr, and what I think is a really strong thing, one thing my mom always said was, never trust anything that only does one thing, which like is a common theme that you see with these sort of new platforms that are coming up. It's like, it only does photos, or it only does photos that explode after 5 minutes, or it's only like live streaming. And what I love about Tumblr is that it can actually like host all of that in one place. So, there's always going to be the hot next new thing. And like we as a brand are trying to hop on all of these things. Like BJ Novak just came out with the List app, which is an app where you can make lists. You feel like if you don't have enough lists on the internet, but like, for a week, somebody's like, that's going to be the hottest thing. And like, we have to make sure that like our brand is in front of that. So I don't know, like, I think you definitely want to be on the pulse of that stuff, but like, I think like building your audience, like, is more than just doing the next hot new social thing. Yeah. And like, if you're making great content, like people will come, I don't know, like try Periscope.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot about Snapchat.
Oh yeah.
Snapchat, I don't use it personally, and but Nice Kicks does, and it has like, I think that's the second biggest social media platform for Nice Kicks. And
How many people in the room use Snapchat on a daily basis?
Yeah,
Like
Snapchat.
all of them.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And
they're
for
like,
the next
wow.
media organization, like you're the crowd that people want, so of course.
And I think it could be a great tool for like behind the scenes stuff. Only seeing it for one time, I guess. I just
It's
I need
it's
to-
It takes
interesting how
time to understand.
Snapchat has exploded because I used it. I worked for the brand called Slim Jim. You may have heard of it.
Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, chat for a contest we ran, and it was back in 2012, 13. It was a long time ago, but it was like nobody cared. There were like 20 responses to this contest, but then, and so I was like, oh, I just like uninstalled Snapchat from my phone. I'm like, Snapchat clearly dead. And then Snapchat just like came roaring back. I don't know how it happened, but it's definitely a huge social media platform. But as for like new ones, I wouldn't call Periscope new. Like people use Periscope, it's pretty regular at this point. Remember Ello? Does anyone remember that? And then that just went like it's just gone now. So I just don't see anybody dethroning Twitter, or Instagram, or Tumblr,
Or Facebook.
anytime soon. Yeah.
And like even for like the establishment social media brands, like there's an article every other week from like Ad Council that's like, oh, the decline of Twitter, or like, oh, the decline of this and that, and like, oh, the rise of this. But like honestly, like this data is like so, it's too micro to actually like be informed by like a real trend. So I think like whatever you feel most comfortable on, like there's an audience everywhere. It's all actually like about just like the distribution of everything. So like I think we're not on this like centralized like sort of model anymore. Like you kind of have to just be everywhere.
So we have a big lineup here.
Yes, please ask more questions.
Hi, my name's Sage, and my question's mainly for Meg, but I'd love to hear your answers as well. I've been a huge fan of you since I saw you hosting on SourceFed, and I was wondering if you'd have some advice for those who are looking for careers like outside of Texas, in LA or New York and all those places. And I know a big part of it is knowing the right people, but what else could you tell us that could help us get out there?
I actually took an internship for the summer to get to just test the waters in LA. I didn't think I really wanted to move there, but then meeting people and seeing how easy it is to just like get a call and go and do a shoot, or like how many people are there for you to meet. It helped me establish those connections and get an idea of the city without having to commit to move there, because that is a huge commitment. So I would say if you're even interested in moving to New York or working in LA or anything like that, get an internship there, try it out for a summer or for winter break or whatever you can do. And get an idea if you really want to work there, if you really can make connections there, or what the industry is like there. It's interesting from city to city, because I would say it's really hard to host in New York, but there are a lot of YouTube networks that are based in New York. So you can kind of be wherever you want it, but I definitely think taking an internship is the easiest way to kind of figure out. And just go to a bunch of casting calls. Like the SourceFed casting call was just like on Actors Access, like just hanging out for, anybody to see. So it's not, you don't always have to have an insider. You don't always have to have an agent or a manager. They do help, but just going out on casting calls and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, so like any of the like East Coast schools, I think West Coast schools too do like semester at USC or semester at NYU. Like you can actually like do like a study abroad, like in New York or DC or LA. So I look into programs like that.
That is just here in the state, by the way. You can go anywhere in the US from an office.
Yeah. I would say the same, interning, try these different spots out, and also just get to know where you are. Go out and check out different events and stuff like that, and see what's out there beyond the school. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
This is for George, huge fan. Nice Kicks is dominant.
Cool.
But so you said you played basketball here, you wrote for the paper, and you took 22 hours. I was just wondering how you juggled, that whole food and sleep stuff.
And how you still do it, because you're very busy still.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know how I did it. I just I kept a planner. I just made sure like at this hour I need to be doing this, and I just somehow balanced it out. I just made sure that it was something I really wanted to do. It was a resume builder as far as like working on the newspaper, doing the intern. I also remember the intern was only for a semester, but I told them that I wanted to desperately come back because I wanted to learn more. So if it's just a passion of yours and something you really want to do, you'll make time for it. And I did that, play basketball, and just try my best. And
Wore 6 shoes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
The key to success, sneakers.
Hi, guys. I'm Andrew. Thanks for coming out. I just had a question really for all of you. As a photographer, content management is important to me. So I want to make sure I'm analyzing my following and figuring out when to post and how often to post. I know that there's a happy medium between posting too much or too little, because I still want to be there, but I don't want to be that pronounced, Like, this guy's posting all the time. Please stop. So I was wondering from you guys, how often do you think a good amount to post is with the shoes or on Tumblr, because I blog, so I'm using blogging, Instagram, and Facebook, all different mediums to reach different demographics. But in terms of how often in general, what would you say on that?
Well, it's tricky because like the internet is completely international, and so like what we try to do is like the key times that we try to post to hit all markets are between 12 and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But like honestly, like it never like we could post something at midnight. Like for Back to the Future, like we posted something at midnight, and that did the best of anything that we posted for that day. Like I don't know. Like you guys probably have better advice for this, but like the internet never sleeps, and like it has content has like longer legs than it used to now. Like stuff that was posted 2 years ago can somehow bubble up. Like I really don't think like your like biggest priority or like you shouldn't like lose sleep at night being like, did I post this at the right time? Because if you're making a lot of content and posting it with some frequency, like I'd say that's fine.
It depends on the audience, and different networks have different philosophies. Rooster Teeth has a pretty set schedule for when shows premiere because people know, okay, it's Wednesday at noon, I can get free play now. They're gonna come back to watch that show. But for news, it's as soon as it's done, like post it because it's all about being timely. But when I actually, that doesn't even go for all news organizations. When I worked at SourceFed, they had like incredibly set in stone post times, 9 a.m., noon, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., and usually 6 would be bumped back to 5 because if you post something, when I was working there, the philosophy is if you post something after 5, 6 maybe, it's just going to die. But we've actually found the opposite for our audience at Rooster Teeth, maybe because they're more like night owls or whatever. We post stuff at 9 p.m. and it does better than what we posted at noon. So you just have to know your audience and kind of experiment, try something out, try posting at this time, seeing if it dies. For my personal stuff, I know that like Facebook Insights tells you where your audience is. So I know I have a huge chunk of my audience in South America. So I think about what time it is in South America before I post something. So you just have to kind of like drill down that data and see where your audience in particular lives, when they're watching stuff, etc.
Yeah, I would agree. There's so many tools out here where you know like who your audience is, where they are, and you just build around that. I know with our biggest column, Sneak Peek, that we do when we go into, you know, celebrities' homes and stuff, that we usually post that around like in between 5 to 7 p.m. Because a lot of people are just at home, not doing anything. Usually during the day, if we post like something on Instagram, it gets a lesser amount of likes just because people are probably at work or at school and stuff like that. We've just built a bigger audience after work, after school, where people are just kind of, you know, lounging around and just relaxing. Yeah.
Yeah, you all had some great things to say about analytics, and that's something that, if anyone's more interested in that, Dale teaches a social media analytics class, and we're working hard to. And I just heard from somebody from Social Distillery about a month ago, and she said her job is a social media content creator, but she said 40% of her job is analytics, and 60% of it is actually planning and doing the actual content. So more and more of these analytic skills, knowing your audience, knowing numbers and things like that is very, very much a part of the social media job. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is mostly for Meg. And it's something I've wondered since the first episode came out. What made you want to start Free Play?
A lot of astute people have acknowledged that Free Play is very close to Attack of the Show. I was a huge Attack of the Show fan back in the day. It's a really fun show. The cool thing is that we've taken Free Play and Rooster Teeth has really put their own spin on it. We make it very much our own show. It's not a copy of a show. It's just, we thought they had a lot of fun, and fuck it, we want to have fun too. Like, let's just do something dumb and like sit on balloons and drink vinegar and be dumb. You know what I mean? Attack of the Show is not the only show that ever did that, but it was something that I thought was really fun, and I was sad that it was gone. So I wanted to create that with Rooster Teeth, and Rooster Teeth has the perfect office and the perfect culture and the perfect audience for that kind of show, and I thought it was just a real shame that they didn't have a show like that. So we hammered it out, we made it our own, we made it unique, but we're still just doing dumb stuff and talking about the internet,
It's a great show.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Delisha, and this question is mainly for George, but I'm sure everyone would love y'all's response. Do you all have internships? What are your qualifications, and how can I apply? Please remember my name, Delisha.
Is this for Nice Kicks or for?
Nice Kicks or anything?
So first I'll start with the foundation. We actually have a brand ambassador program that we just launched maybe 2 weeks ago. And we're definitely looking for help. I will put you in contact with the right people after this.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. And for Nice Kicks, it's seasonal. We're not looking for anyone right now, but it usually opens up in the springtime. As far as like, bloggers and stuff like that. So again, I will put you in contact.
Thank you.
Internships at Tumblr. So tumblr.com/jobs. We actually, okay. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, I don't know. We usually have a really good internship program. It's a lot better than when I was an intern, which was I was like 20 years old and I would go out with the engineers and they'd be like, "You're not 21," and then like it was just they were like very different times. Now they like have dedicated lunches with our CEO and like go on outings and they learn a lot and work really hard.
We have internships for every section. So if you want to be in animation, they have animation interns. They have live action interns. We have news interns. So you can do anything. Hello.
Yeah, I'm Taylor, and this question is mainly for George. So by showing all those pictures of shoes for Nice Kicks, are you also a photographer?
No, I'm not a photographer, but our head photographer is actually in this room. He's behind you.
Oh. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do you also use Instagram and Pinterest for the photos you take? Okay. Alrighty, thank you.
He won't say but maybe 4 or 5 words, so.
Thanks guys for coming down and talking to us, but I just have a question for George. First off, thanks for doing your kick and roll. I'll just try to make it out.
Oh, thanks.
But I know Nice Kicks started out as a blog and kind of blew up, and demand kind of forced you all to have an online shop. But aside from your features and all that, where do you see Nice Kicks going from here?
Where do I see Nice Kicks going from here? Just being consistent right now. I see it doing, just kind of beefing up our video content. We're always trying to create and do different things with our videos, but also having a presence on the ground, because we're big social media wise and web based, but doing different events all around the city and different places, and engaging our audience on a ground level. I see that taking off pretty soon.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Before you ask your question, I just want to announce that I was at the Levi's store like 2 years ago, and I'd never heard of nicekicks.com, and I was shopping, and this guy that's going to ask the question we were just talking, struck into a conversation. He was like, I told him what I did. He's like, oh, have you heard of nicekicks.com? I was like, no. And he's like, oh, you should check them out. They'd be good, like, it sounds like what your class does. And so immediately I just emailed nicekicks.com, and so he's the reason that I know George. But funny.
Hi guys, I'm Matthew. I've been collecting secrets for a long time, and I just want to ask George, what's next? Like, Nice Kicks has always said in the bar, you guys put like a radio station out, you guys have Sneak Peek, it's very successful. Like, what's next for you? Are you gonna do like another segment that's gonna kind of like, like, I guess, like another segment, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, is there anything in the future that you're gonna do besides just Sneak Peek, since it's seen so much success?
Yeah, so our next big thing that we're doing, and we've done a few episodes already, it's called Soul Access. It's where we go into different sports teams, locker rooms, and spend a day in the life with the equipment manager as he, prepares apparel, footwear, and stuff like that. We've actually done a couple of episodes with the San Antonio Spurs, the Sacramento Kings, Lakers, and the Portland Trail Blazers. But we're going to start making that a season, different college teams as well. And that's our next big thing. We have a couple of them that have millions of views already, so we just have to be more consistent with that. And I think that I actually like that more than the sneak peek, because it just shows you a whole new side of a sports team, and like a job that you didn't even think existed. So that's our next big thing.
And I got one more. I know you guys do like a lot of celebrities on like Sneak Peek. Are you gonna ever do like more people that like are just kind of like us that?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was just asking because.
So you want to be in it or?
Nah, I don't want to be in it. I'm just saying like, you know, just like.
Yeah.
Just other collectors that we don't know about and stuff like that are not
Right.
celebrities that have like crazy collections.
Yeah. So this next upcoming season is just regular people, like people that, you know, just collect a lot of sneakers. And because sometimes we do the celebrities and they're always seeded product. So like a lot of their stuff they probably didn't buy. So this next season is just all regular people. So you'll probably enjoy that one.
Hi guys, I'm Cindy. My question, I guess, is for everyone. I'm going into my senior year here at Texas State, and I guess we're kind of at that point where I could start applying for jobs. So what would you guys would recommend, other than internships, what would be, you know, really important to put in your resume? And is it like experience or jobs, or what would your company look for in a new hire?
A lot of companies, and I experienced this at DeviantArt and at Rooster Teeth, they look for, are you a member of our site? Are you using our site? Do you understand our site? Do you understand our audience? For DeviantArt, I had nothing on my DeviantArt profile, and a friend had like put me in touch with a friend, and he was like, you should finish, like just make it look like you've been, they can see how when you signed up, but just make it look like you've been using it, because it's important. People want to hire people, and like at Rooster Teeth, they have a very long storied history of a huge community. So like people who understand that community are going to be able to interface with that community a lot more. So with YouTube, with YouTubers, have you been watching their videos? Do you understand like where they're going, where they've been, how they started, that kind of stuff? Just demonstrating that you have a knowledge of the brand and that you're intimately familiar with it is very promising.
Yeah, I'm actually in the process of hiring right now, and it's really, really grueling. And you know, when we're hiring for one position, we're currently hiring for like 3. You know, are interviewing like 5 or 6 people a week, and you know, I think that's definitely true. Like I interviewed this girl, and her whole interview was like, I went to Harvard, and I was like, I don't care. Like I don't, like, you know, like I just like I think like pedigree doesn't matter. It's really like a demonstrated passion that you can show. And like I have a friend right now who's interviewing for a job at Blue Apron, which is a food startup, and she kind of like went a little, I was like sitting next to her while she was doing it, and she sort of like was going a little bit crazy, like talking about how much she loved like using Blue Apron and like nerding out over like her food delivery. And then she was like, I'm sorry, like I'm so excited. And they were like, no, this is like exactly what we want. So like, it's great that now like you can have job, like having a job doesn't mean you're a drone anymore. Like having a job, you can like work for something that you're really excited about and care about. So like follow those interests, and like people really latch on to that excitement. So
I would say the main key is being as well-rounded as possible. If you're in print journalism, learn the broadcasting side, learn every aspect of what you're trying to do. And I know so many people that started off in one, or they have their degree in something and they do something totally different. I'm not saying they're doing that something totally different for life, but it actually helps you with doing what you want to do and what you're passionate about. But learn every aspect of what you're trying to do. And that, I feel like when you see stuff like that on resumes and you see a person that's willing to learn and passionate about learning all aspects of what they're trying to do, that looks better on paper.
I would add to that a lot of YouTube and similar industries, but mostly YouTube, there are no just hosts. There are people who write their own copy, there are people who host, and there are people who edit. And some people do all of that in the same day. Like I write, shoot, and edit all of my own content. So like being able, if I'd come to a student and been like, I don't do any of that. that would have been a big problem. Like knowing Premiere, knowing Final Cut, I actually learned Final Cut here, and Premiere is pretty much the same thing. But take those classes, like learn, don't think like, well, I'm not gonna be an editor, so I don't need to learn how to edit. Like have those basic skills, even if you don't know a lot. Like I didn't know a lot about Photoshop, but I've learned a lot since I've been there. But I had a basic knowledge. It's just kind of having your hands in everything and having a cursory knowledge of a lot of different things makes you a lot better of a candidate.
Yeah, there was a student that I had that told me that they wanted to be the next Jon Stewart, and I said, well, what are you doing to do that? And they're like, well, I'm in the electronic media program, and when I'm done, I'll get that job or something, something like that. And I was like, well, you have like YouTube at your disposal. You could be making episodes now and like getting all the, we had Bernie Burns come to speak last semester, Rooster Teeth, and he said, for aspiring filmmakers, he's like, you have about 40 really bad movies in you. Get them out now. Like do what you can now to do it, get it all out. But, that also goes with, just practicing and working at it. And we have these tools at our disposal. On that note too, I just really want to mention it, just get your advice real quick. What would you say to a student who's trying to, could you talk about the importance of building an online brand now so that when they do get that job, they have that living like online portfolio that is already their social accounts? Does that matter to you?
It does. I mean, the first thing you do when you get someone's names, you Google them.
Yeah.
Like you want to know what you're going to find, what your fans are going to find, what your viewers are going to find if they Google that person too. So we were always taught like, don't have beers in your hand in your Facebook photos. And now you can like lock down Facebook, right? But things still get out. Like Google yourself. Find out what people find when they look for you. It's okay if your YouTube videos aren't great. If you have a Studio B on your YouTube page, as long as you've shown that you've progressed, it's kind of like an SAT score, right? Where they tell you can totally bomb it the first time. As long as you kill it the next time, like the improvement looks more impressive. The YouTube is the same way. And things don't have to be public forever. Get that practice out. Get your Studio Bs out. And then take it off of YouTube once you feel more confident. You know what I mean? Like having a Twitter, having a Facebook, having a Tumblr, shows that you're into that culture. If you're going to apply for a job at Tumblr, you're not going to not have a Tumblr. You know what I mean? Like they're going to look to that, right? Like, so build out your brand, show that you understand like your social media brand and that you can build on it for the company.
And it doesn't have to be something that's like, it doesn't have to be andywarner.tumblr.com. Like I interviewed this guy the other day and he was like, yeah, like I don't have like a Tumblr that's like my name, but like I have this really like intense Courtney Love fan blog, and I was like, "Tell me more."
Tell me all about that.
and that caught my interest, and it was something that he just like started on the side, and it was actually like funny because it was called like Courtney Love, Please Hire Me or something, and it was just like him like. It was partially like him like making a Courtney Love fan blog and partly him like tweeting Courtney Love like please hire me. Like that was it. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, what were you hoping to get out of these? Like, I don't know, just some job. And so it doesn't have to be like super, you don't have to like even know what you're going to post about, but like, I don't know, that caught my eye. And he didn't know that at the time, but I love Courtney Love. So.
I would say one story that caught my eye rather. Is there any basketball fans in here? Do you know the show called The Starters? Yeah, so they actually, I'd say 8 or 9 years ago, it was 4 dudes that just started doing YouTube videos. Like they just wanted to talk about sports or about basketball and everything happening in basketball, and they just kept doing it until they got a big following, and now they're on NBA TNT and doing stuff like that, and they have their own show. So it definitely pays off to just start from scratch and build your audience that way, because they would have never gotten noticed if they didn't do that.
We've got time for one more question. I want to leave it open in case anybody wants to speak to our panelists afterwards. So
awesome, thank you. My name's Danielle. Thanks for coming. So you've mentioned, or I guess this question's for all of you. So you've mentioned video content a lot. Should we strive for more video content versus photography? Yeah.
I mean, follow your arrow. I don't know. I think the great thing about video content is that, and as someone who consumes video content, I don't make it. It's more alive. If a photo speaks 1,000 words, a video, actually speaks. So I think I don't know, like, do you like making videos? Then make videos.
It's all about your passion. Like, don't feel limited to YouTube is really big right now, so I have to do YouTube videos, but my passion is photography. Like, there's Instagram. Like, there's ways to get your photography out as well. I would say that it's skewing away from written content. So written blogs are harder to get people to, but people still do. I mean, people use Tumblr a lot for like writing things. If you're funny, people will still follow you, but I think that's the only place where I'd be like, well, maybe skew video content. If you have like great writing skills and you don't want to host at all, that's fine. But if you have great writing skills and you're fine with hosting, like use that as a script. Like be funny and use your writing skills that way.
I would say the same. Video is easier to consume than writing at this stage. I remember coming here, when I was here in class, and there was a newspaper, a sports writer that came to the class, and he was just like, I really love my job, but newspapers are dying. And I was just like, because I initially wanted to be a sports writer. And I was just like, after that, I was like, maybe I need to find something else to do. Because he just kind of killed my dream. But just the new wave right now is just video. But don't be, confined to that. Like do anything or everything as far as media, because people will consume it if it's good.
And newspapers aren't dying, they're conglomerating and evolving. So if you get a job writing at a daily, there's so many opportunities. I think communications and sharing information will always be a relevant career choice.
News is never dying. It's more read now than ever. Well, thank you so much to all of our panelists. If you guys would give them a round of applause. Very happy to have them here. Before you guys go, if you're in my class, please bring up your sheets and put them on top of the garbage can. Secondly, this panel, real quick, this panel is sponsored by the Social Media Club, and if you're interested in getting involved more in social media, they have a banner over here. So thank you again for everybody for coming.